Hello, everybody at LFCMS. I'm Miss Coda, and I'm here to talk to you about a super cool event that's going to occur on Monday, April 8th of this year. We are going to see here in Little Falls a partial solar eclipse. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about it before this happens, because if we keep our fingers crossed and there isn't clouds out that day, we would like for the whole school to be able to go outside with our eclipse glasses and take a look at this. It doesn't happen very often, and so it's good to try to get on board when we can see stuff like this. So over the next few Wednesdays in your science classes, you guys are going to be talking about solar eclipses and how they happen and why they happen and how often they happen and what to expect to see on April 8th. In addition, there will be a few lessons from me coming out. There'll be some video clips that I have added of total solar eclipses from around the world and partial solar eclipses from around the world. We'll talk a little bit about viewing safety, how to safely view a solar eclipse, because we can't look at it with our naked eye. It's just like looking at the sun, right? It's not good for your vision. And then also we'll talk about the weather, just so that we can kind of know what we're hoping for. On April 8th, we can start looking at the weather maybe a week in advance, look at some of the pressure systems and try to make some predictions on whether or not we are going to have a good viewing of the solar eclipse. So first off, we'll just talk about what is a solar eclipse. A solar eclipse happens somewhere around the world every year, but very few people can actually see it. Our Earth is 75% oceans, and so right there it cuts us down to a 25% chance of seeing it, and you have to be really in a very tiny little path that goes around the world. It's been compared to taking a basketball and throwing a cooked spaghetti noodle on it. There's a really thin path that the total solar eclipse will follow all the way around the world. And actually on that day, on April 8th, I'm going to travel down to Indiana so I can actually be on that path of totality. But the cool thing is, here in Little Falls, we'll be able to see the sun when it's about 75% covered with the moon. And so you're definitely going to be able to experience some of the really cool things that occur during an eclipse. So with an eclipse, we have the sun over here and the moon comes right in between us and the sun. Now, normally when we're looking at the moon, it's nighttime, right? So this would be, if you imagine yourself standing right here and looking at this side of the moon is not illuminated at all. And that would be in a new moon phase where we wouldn't see any of the moon illuminated. Well, it just so happens that everything lined up right at this time so that the moon is going to be lined up with the sun during our daytime on April 8th. And it's going to gradually move right in front of our view of the sun. And it won't cover it up completely here in Little Falls, but it will cover about, if you imagine 75% of this orb of the sun being covered by the moon. If I go back to the last slide, that is very similar to what you guys are going to be able to see here in Little Falls. And because some of the sun is exposed here, we need to have special solar eclipse glasses. And our parent committee here in town generously donated 600 pairs of them, so everybody in the school will be able to go out and watch. Just to give you another view, I'm going to click up here. No, I'm not going to click up there. Just to give you another view of what the planets, our planet and the moon and the sun looks like in this order. We've got the sun shining right here onto Earth. And if you picture yourself standing right here, you're not going to be able to see any of the sunlit side of the moon, right? And that usually occurs at night. But because we are seeing the moon at this time of the month during the day, you won't see the moon in the sky, but what we will see is a darkening. It will move between us and the sun, obscuring a large portion of the sun over the course of about 3 hours it takes for the moon to first touch the first contact where it first goes in front of the sun, and then it gradually moves over and then moves away and the sun comes back out. It'll occur between 1 and 4 o'clock, with the most of the sun being obscured. So looking a lot more like this picture right around the 2 o'clock hour. So that's what we're shooting for. We'd like to get outside just before 2 and stay till after 2 to be able to take a look at this really cool sight. With that, I am going to finish for the week. I will be talking a lot more about what's called the path of totality and what portions of the eclipse the entire United States. We'll see in my next segment.